Good. That one?
This one, that's your wife.
Right now, almost 7 million Americans have it.
I hate it with a passion. It's a disgusting disease.
In another 26 years, almost 13 million more may get the same diagnosis.
It was an unknown to me in the beginning. I really didn't know a lot about Alzheimer's.
At first, he had trouble remembering names and asked the same questions over and over again.
Tonight, what we know about Alzheimer's.
No one is really sure what the root problem is yet. There are a lot of ideas.
And the mysteries of the mind that remain.
As they say, everyone knows a cancer survivor. No one knows an Alzheimer's survivor.
There's times when my mind will go completely blank. I remember my mom doing that. So these are the things that somebody else might not pick up on that, but I knew right away.
He became more agitated, belligerent, and mean. It became increasingly difficult for me to take care of him.
An important Alzheimer's drug trial in Kansas.
I can find my way, I think, maybe. You just think we have something here that's working that can save people's lives.
Cutting-edge research in Kansas City.
And I think what our work has done, it has raised more questions.
I think we're going to get there as long as there's a will to do it.
We'll definitely want to look at that.
We'll get there.
I think so. It's a miracle.
There are some answers that are 5 years away, and there are other answers that are 20 years away. But we'll keep moving forward.
Good evening and welcome to KMBC9 Chronicle, Answering Alzheimer's. I'm Chris Ketz. Chronicles are special documentaries we bring you throughout the year, taking a much longer look at a subject or an event important to Kansas City. And tonight, the subject is Alzheimer's. We can tell this story while trying to answer two basic questions. What do we know and what don't we know about Alzheimer's? The answers to both questions are ever changing, but here is some of what we know right now. The National Institute on Aging calls it a brain disorder, slowly destroying memory and thinking in an estimated 6 million Americans, most of them over the age of 65. It is the 7th leading cause of death in the U.S., and according to the Centers for Disease Control, the older you get, the better your chances of developing Alzheimer's. Yet changes in the brain leading to Alzheimer's can happen years before the first symptoms. There is no known cure, and while nobody fully knows yet how it is caused, there are people right here in Kansas City who think things as simple as diet and exercise can make all the difference.
It's before 5 in the morning outside a fitness center in Overland Park, Kansas.
This is like usual.
This is how Ann Frazier and her husband Mark start their day 5 times a week.
You can do that.
When it comes to what she does here, Ann knows she has to do whatever it takes.
Whew, that last one's hard.
Every time she sets the weights, every time she's on a machine, with every rep she takes, she has something else on her mind. Ann is considered pre-Alzheimer's. With every step she takes.
All right.
The ultimate goal isn't just about fitness.
Yeah, it is literally mental health for me in so many ways to work out.
She struggles with it.
Okay.
Her relationship with her mind. There are signs that make her wonder.
I didn't say anything to Mark. I didn't say anything to my friends because I was afraid if I said it, it would be true. It was a combination of things that were happening. I was going to a conference, and when you walked up, you gave them your name, and they gave you a sheet, and you had to, just fill some things in. And she gave me the sheet, and I could put my name down, but I couldn't tell you what day it was, what year it was. I couldn't tell you my address, like complete blankness. So then that's when in the back of your mind you're going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
That was in 2015.
We didn't tell anyone. So we didn't say anything for a while. Because I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to tell anyone.
She knew her mind wasn't healthy, wasn't all there. And she's careful of how she lives today, not knowing what the future might bring. Because to Ann, this all sounds a little too familiar. Both her parents suffered from dementia and died just 6 months apart.
I remember my mom doing that. So these are the things that somebody else might not pick up on that, but I knew right away.
Once a month, just up the street from a Wichita, Kansas hospital, 68-year-old grandfather David Welch
I can find my way, I think, maybe.
Yeah, probably so.
walks into a building.
Yeah, I think so. It's a miracle.
A building where he says he found something that made a big impact on his life.
When my heating and air conditioning system needed replaced, I called David Welch and Welch's Heating and Air.
I owned Welch's Heating and Air Conditioning for 33 years.
His business at the time was a success.
I trust David Welch and Welch's to keep my family comfortable.
And then
I sold the business 2 years ago. I couldn't run it anymore.
and not because he wanted to.
You get anxious, second guess yourself a lot.
He was in a panic over something he couldn't control. He was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, a diagnosis he had seen his father, his sister, a great aunt, and some of his father's cousins face as well. David was certain he knew what his future would look like.
I wouldn't be driving, I'd be sitting at home, and my wife would probably have to quit work and take care of me, you know. When you first get sick, I think one of the big things is you have to change how you walk. I noticed that with my sister and my dad, because I noticed it with my aunt. You have to watch every step you take till you teach yourself how to walk again. And you know, my dad had a bunch of falls. My sister, I had a couple of bad falls. Yep.
I'll show you what I brought you.
It's another cherished family visit. And still, Chuck Hajinian always has questions.
So you can remember.
Helen, recognizing they walked through.
I know.
Here Chuck is asking about family photos on a cell phone. Photos of family members he no longer recognizes.
My kids actually see him, you know, they probably go once every 3 or 4 weeks. When he sees them, he does really light up. I don't think he quite knows who's related to who, but he knows it's his family.
We played back video of the visit for his wife and 2 daughters to help us understand.
So there's still a connection.
There's a connection for sure.
Part of Chuck's Alzheimer's journey is told by his wife Darla, who wrote a letter titled "The Light at the End of the Tunnel."
In 2014, Chuck and I decided it was time to give up the responsibilities of home ownership and move to a retirement facility.
Darla and Chuck were married 64 years. Chuck worked mostly for the EPA before retiring, yet the last few years of his life were lost to Alzheimer's.
The years passed. Chuck entered his 90s and slowly began to experience dementia. At first, he had trouble remembering names and asked the same questions over and over again. Gradually, as we faced a new challenge, COVID-19, which brought with it quarantines and many new rules and regulations, Chuck's personality began changing. I think it was harder for me than anybody because I just was seeing him change. You know, it was no longer the person I married, and I always wanted to correct him, everything he said. He went through a very mean stage and angry.
They're my great-grandkids.
Your great-grandkids. Yep.
No.
They are.
They could feel Chuck slipping further away. His family felt an Overland Park Memory Care Center was what Chuck needed, but it wasn't what Chuck wanted.
The day came when we all reached the decision that it was time for memory care, but we all spent sleepless nights wondering how we'd get him there. He was adamant that he wouldn't move.
Still to come on this KMBC9 Chronicle.
I could see it getting worse all the time.
Chuck's world is turned upside down when Alzheimer's takes over.
Let me take you back to that day. I think I heard somebody say the worst day of one's life.
Yes, definitely. One of the worst.
The heart-wrenching decision his family had to make. And new hopes for a cure inside this little white box. But when it comes to answering Alzheimer's, the questions continue.